Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of organizations used to run in a waterfall methodology, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just you keep going, and no matter what, you're going to keep going this way until the end. And what a lot of organizations started to see was, well, this project can take 6 months to complete, or let's say a year. Let's go long term, a long way to go before its completion. So now you have a year until you get to the end product. You
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of different things that could be released in that year, but you don't want to release anything until that year is up. That's your time frame.
Yeah.
But if you wait till that year is over, the customer that you're building it for or the people that you're presenting it to, their mind may have changed over that time span.
Exactly.
Agile is breaking those things up and releasing and then getting feedback and seeing if we need to keep going in that direction. But
Yeah.
if you don't release it and get feedback, in my time, you may have like a whole bunch of things that don't work or people don't want. And
Mm-hmm.
that's wasting money because now you got to go back to the beginning
Yeah.
and reconstruct and rebrand and redo everything over. So that's why I love Agile and that's why I coach it.
I think exactly. And I think that is spot on. You hit the nail on the head. But not only are you wasting in my well, this can honestly be in any industry,
Mhm.
but I say specifically with my industry, not only would you waste time, you're wasting client funding,
Mhm.
you're wasting energy and effort, you're wasting, but also I think this is one of the most important things as well, especially when you're in a client services heavily client service industry. You don't want to waste or step into the territory of client mistrust.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that you definitely don't want to step into, or client mistrust, or even just customer mistrust or stakeholder mistrust, because these are people and individuals that will affect your business. They rely heavily into what you're doing. They invest heavily into what you're doing, and it doesn't have to be investment financially. So yeah, that's a great point that you made.
And that mistrust aspect is also employee burnout. Because why would an employee want to keep doing the same thing over and over? They're
Mm,
going to start looking for another place to work. They're going to start looking for, or they're going to just be disgruntled. They're not
yeah.
going to want to do this anymore. And now the quality goes down. The quality of the work that you're producing goes down because everyone is like, oh, here we go again. Here we
Mm,
go again. And what happens as well, if you're wasting money, time, customer trust, then you're going to have to look at, okay, how can I say, as being a CEO, you're going to have to look at how can I save this company money? Like, how can I not go bankrupt? Let's go to an extreme. How can I not lose the money that I'm investing into this company and the resources? We're going to have to do layoffs. So now is layoffs. Now is people that are that came into the company that wanted a job, wanted to provide for their family, wanted to do
mm,
a lot of different things with that money that you were giving them. But now they can't trust you because you're going to have to keep laying people off, bringing people back in.
yeah.
Your employee retention is down now.
Mm-hmm.
Have to keep revising, rehiring, revising, rehiring. And I think a lot of companies don't really see that the aspect of agile when people come into organizations and teach it. We're trying to keep the customer, we're trying to keep the employees, we're trying to have a healthy work environment. And that's what I try to hone in on when I go into an organization. I want to coach them in a business development scene or way of doing things, because we want your customers to be happy, but we also want your employees to be happy. We
Yeah.
want to have those big bonuses. We want to have those big payouts, and we want them to love working here, because when someone loves working somewhere, they'll tell others about it. Like, this is a great environment.
Yeah.
They're happy to come to work. But if they're not,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, I got to go to work. And you know what? They're on their phone looking for another job while they're at work.
Yeah. You got it. You got it. That's it.
So I want to kind of segue into my next question, right? So one thing that I had a lot of struggles breaking into technology and breaking into my career path. So what
Mhm.
type of struggles did you deal with trying to get your career started?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, finding my career path in public relations as a now 27-year-old Black woman, has been a journey filled with both challenges and growth. And I think one of the main struggles that I faced was the lack of representation in the industry. It was often difficult to find mentors who could relate to my experiences and provide guidance from a similar perspective. Also, just I encountered biases that made it harder to prove my capabilities and gain the same opportunities as my peers. And I think, just thinking back, to overcome these obstacles, and to be honest, I still kind of face it today, but just to overcome these obstacles, I actively sought out supportive networks and, communities where I could find encouragement and advice. I invested in continuous learning, to ensure that I was always at the top of my game, that I knew my stuff. And I made it a point to advocate for myself in my work. Because I, after a while, after my experiences, and not saying that I'm perfect and, know it all, but, I can bring some stuff to the table. I know my stuff. And so you have to be confident in that. And so, I just think that these experiences have not only made me more resilient, but have also equipped me with a unique perspective that I bring to my role every day. So just thinking back to, the challenges that I did face, trying to get my foot in the door. My advice to others facing similar challenges is to never underestimate the power of perseverance. And just to seek allies who can support you on your journey. Ensure that you stay true to yourself and your values, and remember that your unique perspective is a strength and it's never a weakness.
Yeah, I love that. So continuous learning is something that stood out to me when you were speaking, right? Because continuous learning is knowing that you are not saying that you're not the best, but knowing that you have a lot more to learn and always being open to learning. A lot of people get into their career and they're like, oh, I know this, I could slack off. No, don't ever slack off, because there's always going to be things that change and there's always going to be different initiatives being pushed. So you can't just relax. And especially us being minorities in corporate, we have to, and I've experienced this too, we have to go above and beyond sometimes.
Yes.
It's not a problem with going above and beyond, but you have to establish yourself so you can be that person that can help someone else. So your word is valued now because how hard you've worked and how hard that you have gone being wherever you were. And now your name is what carries. Like, oh, this is a hard worker. They're experts at what they do. If I have a problem, I go to this person. That's what we have to do. We have to be the person that people can go to so we can reach out to our mentees and say, look, I'm going to teach you, but it's not going to be easy. As long as you stick with me, I'm going to stick with you. And that's what I try to do now.
Absolutely. I think that's great. And there was something that you just mentioned, mentioning just how, both of us as minorities and so many other young minorities in this country. But, growing up, I told you that, my parents were heavy advocates of education, but they always instilled in both myself and my older brother. They were just saying, always remember that you have to work twice as hard just to get half of what they get. And that has always stuck with me since they told me that you have to work twice as hard just to get half of what they get. And so, just ever since then, that's just always been not my driving force, but it's never left my mind. And I think it's what pushes me to do good, to be excellent, to excel in my career, to not be complacent, to not be satisfactory with what I'm doing. As you said, being a lifelong learner, there's always something that you can learn, always something that you can invest your time into, always something that you can do greater at, and invest your time in, learn more about. There's always something. So yeah.
Yeah, and with investing your time and investing your energy, a lot of what we don't speak about at times is the sacrifice that you have to make. Like, a lot of people want to still do the things that they were doing while wanting to do something else.
Yeah.
But I'm here to tell you, I went hard for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
get to where I am. I didn't go to parties. I didn't. I did drink a little bit, but I didn't drink. Like it was not like every weekend I have to go out. I have to celebrate because I've heard someone say, "Why are you celebrating every weekend? You're just celebrating your failures." Because a lot
Mm,
of people say, "Well, I've been to work all week. Let me go out. Let me go party. Let me go to the club. Let me go relax." What are you relaxing for? You did what you were supposed to do
mm,
during the week. You went to work. Now it's time for you to do what you want to do, which should be progressing your life,
mm.
doing that extra, putting that extra time into learning, that continuous learning, learn, network, talk to people, figure out things that you don't know, explore.
Yeah.
So that sacrifice is something that people really need to understand because it's not going to be easy. And most of the time, I'll say after a month of trying something, most people just like, okay. And I was saying I'm giving grace because a month is even earlier than that at times. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I do this, then they do it, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I could do this anymore. But
To give
no,
up.
you have to go harder because I've heard Golden say this, and it's in the Bible as well. But with intention comes disruption.
Mm,
Anything that you intend to do, because you got to think, you intend to do something that you don't know how to do. There's a lot of things that you don't know. It's not just that specific thing because that's very broad. But even in the Bible, when God created heaven, created the world,
mm,
intended for us to be in His creation, but now we sin. He
mm,
wasn't expecting us to sin,
mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
we have freedom of choice and we have freedom to do things. So now it's disruption. So
Yeah.
everything that you do is going to be intention. There's going to be disruption with that. And as long as you make it past that disruption, you'll be okay because you
Yeah.
got to prepare for the next disruption because it's going to
Yeah.
be further intention in that.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to move on to the next question because you bringing up the Bible. You're going to have me start preaching. you talking good.
Yeah, I get very passionate about that. But
I love it. I love it. I'm right there with you.
so yeah, so and speaking of intention and disruption. So, what do you feel your purpose is? Not just in
Mm,
business, but just in life in general. What do you feel your purpose is?
yeah, yeah.